Good afternoon from sunny Portugal. I say that with a little bit of a, a sarcastic bent because it's been raining. It's been raining a lot in the north of Portugal this winter. And last week it was just gorgeous. It was 80 degrees, 79, 80 degrees for several days in a row. The sun was out. You wanted to get out, you wanted to garden, you wanted to do all kinds of things, maybe go into Porto and enjoy the river and all the delights that Porto has to offer. And then it got rainy and cold again. So this week's rainy, a little soggy, but the sun's out and then it goes away and it comes back. But it's just part of living in northern Portugal, just like it would be snowing in New York or something during the winter. It just what it is, what it is. But any day now, the sun's going to come out and it's going to be beautiful until end of October, 1st of November. So, actually, end of September, 1st of October. And then we go through the rainy season again. But that's okay. I don't mind. It's still paradise. It's still paradise. Okay, so this video is specifically on VFS Global offices and the Chancery. Okay, I'm gonna have problems with Chancery as long as and Schengen as well. But people want to know, where do I go to get this visa? Can I apply within Portugal? No. If you are a resident of the United States, or if you are a citizen of the United States and you've lived there, unless you've lived in some other country for a period of time legally, and that's not the Schengen shuffle. You literally had to have a visa or some particular reason for living in that other country for a while. You have to apply within the United States of America, Estados Unidos. And that is because, I don't know, but that's the rules, and you just kind of abide by the rules. And where you apply for your visa is dependent on which state you resided in when you apply. Once you have applied, by the way, you can move to another state, but when you apply, that's the residency wherever your residency, that's the place that you go. And I've got a really nice PowerPoint presentation. I'm linked down there. It goes over to a WordPress site, nothing scary or anything. It's just a WordPress site so that I can upload PDFs of the process. Again, you need to sign up with Facebook. I know there's political aspects to that. Just ignore that. You're going to get to move to Portugal. So what you've got to do is you've got to get into Facebook and you need to join American and Friends PT. Again, I will put the name in the links below. That is the best, the most up-to-date information you can have on immigrating to Portugal. They do a fantastic job. The issue and the reason I'm doing these particular videos and this whole channel is newbies don't understand the process. And so when they get into that Facebook group, they don't know what to Google. They don't know what to put in the search criteria. They don't know what to look for in the files. It's mind-blowing, the whole process. And so if you've never done anything like it, you need a little bit of a handhold. But once you've got the handhold done, then you should be able to do the whole process by yourself, with maybe hiring out a few little bits and pieces, but you wouldn't need a lawyer necessarily to do it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a immigration specialist. I'm just a person in her 60s that immigrated to Portugal from the United States on my own. By the way, sight unseen. I had never been to Portugal before I moved here, so it was a big learning curve, but it's still wonderful. I don't mind. So anyway, to go join that group, and once you've joined the group, then you're going to want to find their document, and they just released a new document, and this is backwards, I know, and I don't know how to fix that because I'm not a video specialist, but it's called the non-EU citizens moving to Portugal, the Visa and Resident Permit Guide 2025. That's the one that you're going to have. That's your whole how-to, and it's an excellent document. They've done a great job. Please give them your kudos, because without it you'd be paying a lawyer buku bucks, and most of the lawyers, from what I understand from the people who have hired them, they didn't really know much more than this Facebook group, and a lot of the lawyers or people that they hired actually just use the documents on this Facebook group. So anyway, the first thing you need to know is where the whole overall process, which is in the video I posted a few days before. So you want to check out that. There's also a brand new PDF PowerPoint presentation on the entire process so that you can follow that. It's listed in verbiage. I'll do a timeline project line as soon as I've got a few more of these videos going. But anyway, this is your whole, this is really your, I want to say Bible with a little b if you want. This is what you need to do, and you need to follow it, and they know what they're talking about. But you want to know which VFS office you're going to go to, and so we're going to go over that today. And we're going to start with the big one, which is the DC VFS. What is VFS Global anyway? VFS Global is really a third-party vendor, started in India, and now I think their main offices are in Dubai. But they're just a third-party vendor. They process visas for a whole myriad and slew of countries. So it's not just the Portuguese people that it's not just the Portuguese visa that they're processing tons of other countries. And so each individual clerk has to know all the different requirements for all these different countries. And it's unless they've been there for a long time, you will probably walk into that office and know more about what you need than they do. So just set that aside and understand that that's what a VFS Global is. They do not process your visa. All they do is take you in. They it's called an interview. You make an appointment in the interview. They get your paperwork. They ask you for them. They put them together in a little packet, and then they ship it off to whomever it is that actually processes your paperwork and determines whether or not you get the visa in order to get into to move to Portugal. So let's go off the big one, which is in the DC, Washington, DC area. And you want to goes by state. Not all of them do, but most of them go by state. So Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and of course the District of Columbia. There is a couple of caveats on that. I think the DC offices got so busy with processing paperwork for people wanting to move out of the United States. Wonder why. So they opened up an office in Texas. So it's the Houston office. And so if you're a resident of Texas, you can go through that office instead of the DC office. And also Florida, if you're residents and you want to, and you're resident of Florida, then you could go through the Miami office as well. And all the locations and information is in the document on American and Friends PT, but I've also put it in the presentation that I've linked at the bottom of this video over on my WordPress site. And it has the addresses, the phone numbers, and the email addresses. Each one of them has an appointment methodology, and that'll be covered that's covered in this document. And if you need it, then maybe I will help you find where that is specifically. Okay, so Washington, D.C., if you live in those states, then that's where you go. There is some chatter on the American and Friends PT as of April 2025, which is when this video is dated, where Florida and Houston might actually take people that are not residents of Texas or Florida. So I don't know what the special sauce is to do that, but there was a little bit of chatter on that. So you, if you're really desperate and you can't get into the DC offices, because it's really hard to get an appointment at this time, you might want to try that. Okay. All right. The next VFS office is in New York. So if you're a resident of the state of New York, then you're going to go to the New York VFS Global office. If you are I gotta make sure I get this right because some of them aren't VFS Global offices. Okay, San Francisco. That's a really interesting, different one. But if you're a resident of Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming, then you would go to the San Francisco VFS office in San Francisco. And I'm trying to make sure that that's all of the VFS ones. I think so. The rest of them are not VFS Global Services offices, but they are basically the Chancery. You're going to apply it directly to the Chancery instead of going through the third party. And that is the Newark office, which is for the states of Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And Newark, New Jersey, of course. Then you've got, I want to make sure I cover all of them. Okay. New Bedford, Massachusetts covers the state of Rhode Island, okay, but only these counties and cities in the state of Massachusetts. The counties are Barnstable, depends on where in the United States you are, how you pronounce that. Bristol, Dukes, Nantucket, and Plymouth are the counties, and the cities are, and I am going to murder the city, Acushnet, Acushnet, okay, Dartmouth, New Bedford, and Fall River. Those are all those people would apply at the Chancery in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And then the last office, I'm gonna make sure I got them all. Yep, is Boston. And so that's also a Chancery office and not a VFS office. And that's for the state of Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont and the rest of Massachusetts. So basically, if you don't fall in those counties and cities in Massachusetts, then you're going to go to the new Boston one. And that's the VFS Global jurisdictions. There's things that you need to understand about every one of these particular areas where you go. You're going for your visa appointment or interview. And all of them require appointments. There used to be, you might find some chatter somewhere where you used to be able, you could walk in and pay an extra $50-something dollars to get in to your appointment if you just walked in off the street. They no longer do that. They did that for a little while. I think they had some appointment availabilities, and so they were doing that, but now they're not doing it. So don't even, if you see that in any of your research, just it no longer is valid. There isn't a cost, and each month it's a different cost every month. So we'll try and post that too here on here, but it's also available on American and Friends PT by people posting something. If whoever finds it out first, post it on there, and then you find out. I usually need a money order, and we'll go into that later. But right now, that's basically what this is. You've got to understand that each one of these offices, or they have different requirements. They're going to require different types of paperwork. They're going to want different lengths of paperwork. Like some offices will want 6 months of something, some will want an entire year. And it's not applied. So if you go to one, there's a requirement for one, doesn't necessarily mean that's the same requirement for another. Not really sure about why, but it gets you really in the mood for when you get over here in Portugal, because when you come over here, nothing is applied equally across the country. You can go to one government office and they'll say you need 6 pieces of paperwork signed in triplicate and all kinds of weird things, even though the requirement is on a web page, a government web page that says you only need 1 piece and you don't need it signed. It doesn't matter. You go to that one government office and that's how they've interpreted that law. Then you go to another one for the exact same thing and it'll be something totally different. That is called Portuguese bureaucracy, and it is what it is. You just have to embrace the fact that this is what we call Portuguese tax for moving here. You just have to have a good attitude, a good positive attitude about it. You have to be patient, and you have to understand that these people are doing the best that they can. There's probably not enough of them. They're trying to process. So please, please put on your patient hat and don't let it stress you out. I know that's hard to say because you're selling and you might go for a homeless period. You're selling your house, you're moving overseas, everything's new, you don't speak the language. It's going to be stressful for you. Just understand that it's also stressful for them. And it's your new home and it's your new country. So please be good stewards of that and be patient. And we'll see you on our next video. Thank you.